Instead of graduating college at 22, 23, like most college students do, you end up graduating at like 30, 35. Is your success less valid because you accomplished it at a later stage in life? Let's have a chat. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video is one that I'm excited about because it's really one that it's been really loaded and marinated in my head, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so true. And it's something that I noticed in other people, and I talked about this in the video of 24 lessons that I learned in my 24 years of life, about how sometimes the traits that we notice in others we sometimes demonstrate them myself, and I found myself guilty of this just in a different version. I feel like in media and just growing up sometimes, we often see people like come up with like a struggle story when they're talking about their success. They'll be like, oh, I made it out the mud, I struggled growing up, like people told me I won't amount to anything, yada yada yada, when it's like, you grew up in the burbs, my guy. But I feel like a lot of times people feel like if they add a struggle story to it, it makes their success story a lot more valid. It makes it feel like, okay, they've really grinded instead of maybe their parents helped them along the way, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Time and time again, we talk about building generational wealth, and the whole purpose of generational wealth is to be able to help our kids, which is what some of these parents did for their children. But I still think it's ingrained in our head that success is more valid when there's a struggle story behind it. This also got me thinking about how sometimes, although I don't come up with a struggle story, I made it out the mud type of thing, I feel like sometimes I tie my success to a certain stage in life. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, is your success still valid if you graduate at a later stage in life? And I just want to say yes to that, because I found myself often putting a lot of pressure on myself because I felt like, okay, if I don't accomplish this by this certain age, that means that success is no longer as valid or as exciting, so much so that I put this huge burden on myself that it's like, okay, you have to do this by this certain age. And I think we also look at social media where you go on the internet one day, it's like an 18-year-old millionaire, 19-year-old bought 5 houses, how I turned my $5,000 into $5 million. You just see all these things. And I think my whole thing is to not get so caught up on time. I think even the Bible talks about in Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for everything. And I truly think, honestly, some of these things, when you accomplish them at later on in life, it's even bigger because your brain is not as sharp at 40 if you graduate college than it is at, I don't know, 22, 23 when you graduate. So the fact that you still push through and you persevere is still a big thing. I'm gonna preface this by saying this is not an excuse to be like lay back, don't do anything, chill. That is not what I'm saying. But I think it's so important to not tie the validation of your success to a certain time period. Regardless of when you accomplish certain things in life, that success is still very, very valid. And this is something that's been just so key for me. I want to say this past week when I had a conversation with one of my mentors is that, where are you rushing to? Basically, I talked to my parents as well. They're like, Kemi, if it happens now, glory be to God. If it happens 5 years from now, glory be to God. I feel like I put this unnecessary pressure on myself of, you have to do this right now, right now, right now. And I even think about this in like how God is just mysterious ways, and there's a time for everything. And everything always works out the way it's supposed to. I find myself, and I think a lot of people also find themselves in this scenario of, I feel like I'm running out of time. It's like, I need to do this now, now, now. Even when we go up throughout our day, we're constantly like, okay, go, 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 go. Do this to-do list. And every now and then I catch myself, I'm like, you're running late according to whose schedule? Like, everything is gonna go according to the way it's planned. Again, this is not an excuse to be like, what's meant for me will be for me. You sleep in your bed all day and think that whatever all those goals, whatever you want is just gonna find you in your bed. Absolutely not. Still put in the effort, still put in the work, but there comes a point where you can't put that pressure on yourself anymore. All you can know in your heart of hearts is like, I'm gonna do everything I can do. Maybe you're seeking out a relationship. Put yourself out there, go out there. That does not mean that you go outside of the norm, or I don't know, you go bungee jumping when you don't want to go bungee jumping, or let's say you're looking for a job, all you can do is apply. Do what you need to do and everything else will work out. I feel like that's one thing that I've truly been telling myself, to not feel like I'm running out of this time, because social media really has your perception warped where I feel like at 24 I should be like, I don't know, I feel like I should be like living large and stuff like that. And that's not the case for everybody. That's not to say that I shouldn't strive for goals, but to not compare my timing to other people's timing. And I even think about this when it comes to marriage and timing, because we always feel like we're behind time and all this extra stuff. I think about marriage a lot because, for instance, somebody might meet their husband or wife at 25, they get married, and then by 30 they're divorced. Or someone else can meet their partner at 45 and they live till 95 and they still have 50 years of marriage. I think we really need to get out of the mindset of we're running out of time, because, not to say that I want to get married at 40, I still pray that God gets me, whatever. I still pray. I'm just saying that even if somebody were to get married at 40 and you guys live up until you're 80, that's still 40 years of marriage that you guys have spent together. And I always just thought that if you get married at like 40, you've missed out on all like married life and everything. And it's like, no, you still can have 40 good years with somebody, God willing. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, because when you're in it, it's a lot harder. But looking back, that person that was probably 40, they're probably like, oh my gosh, she gets married at 25 and I'm going year after year and nothing. But you never know how that person's story might end. And I think so often we get caught up in the timeline of things. We all have different paths in life, and that is a lesson that I'm truly learning, that everybody has a different path in life. And I think about this often too when it comes to, I truly think we've got so structured. I don't know if structure is the right word, but I think as a whole demographic of people, I don't know if that's even the right word, we've gotten so used to tying certain marks to a certain age. And while there's nothing wrong with that, like if a baby's grown up, you're gonna tie, like, I don't know, at 6 months they should be doing this. And while there's nothing wrong with that, as it begins to get older, you realize you can't really do that anymore, because things are gonna happen on their own timing. And like I mentioned, all you can do is what you're capable of doing and leave the rest up to God. Whenever it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And trust me, I was just freaking out about this last week. So like, I understand that nature of like, I thought this was gonna happen type of thing. And I also think it's beautiful to think that, okay, my blessing hasn't come yet, but I know it's on the way, because I know who God is and there's a timing for everything. And although I don't have it in this season, that does not mean that I won't get it at all. Like, it's still coming, and it's still gonna be as beautiful if you graduate later on in life, if you graduate early on in life. No matter where you get your success, it's still as valid. And that's my whole point in this, that don't tie the validity of your success to it being accomplished at a certain stage in life. There are a lot of people that they don't acquire success or wealth to their later stage in life. Does that make it any less valuable? No, that was just the timing of their life. And back to the whole thing about running behind schedule, because this is something that I found myself doing a lot, where I just feel like I have to like go. Like, if I write a to-do list, nothing can go wrong. The moment one thing goes wrong, I'm freaking out, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, because it's like, no, I have to be on the schedule. And I saw a video on TikTok, an article, but where this guy shared how if you constantly feel like you're running out of time, that voice like, you gotta go, you're running out of time type of thing, that's not the voice from God. I don't think God wants us to be like, go, and rush. I don't think that's it. Literally, it says in His word, there's a time for everything. And this also has me thinking about those moments in life where a simple delay that we think is like the worst thing ever has helped us acquire something better. For instance, on 9/11, I think there are cases of people that they maybe forgot something or they missed a train, and that one train that they missed then saved their life. And in that moment, sometimes when we get delayed or things get derailed, we sometimes look at them as like the worst thing possible. But there's so many little things that you don't realize, that maybe you missing that red traffic light is saving you from an accident, because had you gone that 1 second, you might have got hit. We see videos all the time where those just like 1 second of movement or something little that then saves you. Timing is everything. And I don't say that to make you in a rush, but know that if you are at a certain place, even if you don't like it in life, or maybe you ran a light or you're late to class, know that, okay, one thing I always tell myself, like, okay, Kemi, you are where you're supposed to be. Sometimes I might not understand it, but you staying back or maybe holding that traffic light had maybe saved somebody else from an accident. You never know. And this is something that I really tell myself in times where I feel like I'm rushing. I'm like, Kemi, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Calm down. Things didn't go your way, but you're perfectly okay, because I don't know what God has saved me from. They always say God's redirection is His protection. You don't know what God just saved you from, but you trying to go. There are even cases where people maybe missed a flight and then they met their husband there, or they missed a flight and they got that call. I remember I saw a designer, she talked about how she wanted to go on a plane for her godson's birthday, and she ended up missing the plane, and she was so frustrated and everything, but she ended up getting a call to design for one of like the biggest pastors in the world, which had she been on that plane, she would have missed that call. And that was just so profound to me, because sometimes we just get in the mindset of my plans are being disrupted, but we don't know the blessings that are coming our way. And a prayer that I've been praying, and it's scary sometimes to pray this, especially when like I have a lot of things to do, like, God, please, but I think a prayer that I've been praying after I write my to-do list is that although I've written this plan, if you want to disrupt this plan for your will to be done, do what you got to do. So even times when I want to get frustrated that like, oh my gosh, I thought I'll be here by a certain time, or I'm running behind schedule, I'm like, Kemi, there might be something that God wants you to see. And this also goes into the moment of me praying the prayer of, let me be conscious of you, God, throughout my day, because in this go, go, go mentality of trying to get to your destination, sometimes we forget to smell the roses, that they say, or maybe God is trying to show you something, but you're so focused on where you want to go that you can't break not a little bit of that beeline vision just to see that this is what God wants to show me. There might be something that God wants to teach you. A woman once told me, she goes, if God has brought you back to a season that you thought you overcome, or he's brought you back to a season that you thought you were done with, there's probably a lesson that he wants to show you there that you haven't learned. But again, because of timing and everything, we're so like, go, 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 we sometimes miss that lesson. Sometimes God will be like, okay, I'm going to roll you back in. Let's learn it. It's not easy because sometimes you just want to be on your P's and Q's and be very, very structured. But sometimes God is really trying to teach us a certain lesson. And it's so important to pray the prayer of, God, let me be aware of your presence. Let me disrupt my plans according to your will, because we never know. The timing of things are so important. Not in a way to rush you, like I said, but in a way to know that you are where you're supposed to be. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to be. And I even think about this when it comes to like the videos on TikTok and Instagram where people go out and they bless other people. It's always so interesting to me that most of the people that they bless are the people that needed the most. Either they needed their rent due, or they needed that new blessing, or whatever the case might be. It's just like, those are the people that really needed it. And again, it all comes down to the timing. When it comes to this whole topic of knowing that you're at the right place at the right time, sometimes it's not just about you, but you're also helping somebody else get to where they need to get to at the right time. So yeah, just keep that in mind when it comes to timing. Even if other people are not excited about it, still celebrate your wins. I don't care if you graduate college at 30, 35, 40, whatever your timeline is where your timeline is. And this is going to be one of the last things that I say when it comes to timing and always feeling like we're in a rush. I feel like so many times we're trying to rush through life to get to a certain stage in life, but we always find ourselves looking back and wishing we enjoyed those moments. I talked about this when it came to like working on my health and fitness and all that stuff, but it also ties to life as well, because there are times where we want to rush to, I don't know, get married. But you're going to get married and you're going to be very happy in that marriage, but you're also going to look back and be like, wow, I wish maybe I enjoyed my singleness a little bit more. Maybe I wish I went out more. When kids come into the pictures, you can't just up and go with your girls anymore. There's a lot more thought process that goes into it, because you have to let your husband know, you have to get a sitter. So that also is a thing to think about when you think of, oh, I need to get to this destination. There's a certain freedom that you have at a certain point in your life that you no longer have when you get to your future destination. I even think about this when it comes to content creation a little bit. Let's say you want to be this big, successful creator, which you will get there if that's in God's will and all. But you can also still cherish this moment of where you're trying different things that you like, because when you get to that big stage in life, there's a little less wiggle room for mistakes. One thing that has been like instilled in my head by a lot of married people is they all say they wish they traveled more, and that's something that I've been trying to make a conscious effort of, and that's something that has always rang in my head to make sure that I enjoy this moment of going out and my freedom and stuff, because I know that when I get to that stage of being married, it's no longer going to be the same. To wrap up this video, I shared this whole topic of timing with you, not to put a rush on you at all, but to just give yourself a moment to breathe, to know that let's take a deep breath. You're exactly where you need to be. Everything is going to work out according to God's will. Just truly breathe. Don't put yourself in this box. Don't put so much pressure on yourself and feel like you need to do this by a certain date to feel like it's valid. Regardless of when that happens, your testimony, your blessings are still going to be valid. As big as Oprah is, I believe they said at 23 she just got fired from a job. So please, 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 don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Just do everything you can in your power and leave the rest up to God. And anyway, guys, that's it for me. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye. Whew, there's time for everything. It's my time to sleep now.